So reflecting on Dhamma, the Buddha is the knower of the way it is. And so the Sangha is the practicing or cultivating the path, the Eightfold Path. And so this Eightfold Path, remember, is not just eight steps, or it's not the words itself. It's based on this samadhi, and that's why emphasis on this unborn, uncreated during this winter's retreat, so that you're operating from samadhi rather than from ignorance or from the self-view. So to cultivate the path is the aim of this life, say the samana life. That's its whole purpose, it's raison d'etre, why we're here. At least that's why what I encourage you to do. So, Eightfold Path, samadhi, is not that. As long as you're determined to operate from the Sakkaya Ditthi, then, that's your choice in life. And you'll pay the result of that choice. So the kind of clarity of the Buddhist teachings, this basic teaching, Four Noble Truths, is to me it all resolves around this. There is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. So that's the statement, the words. It's the Pariyatti Dhamma, taken from the Udana, the Pali Canon, the suttas. But then, just memorizing Atti Bhikkhave Ajatang Aputang Akatang Sankadang is not the answer. So it's not about grasping the Pariyatti Dhamma, but the Pariyatti Bhati Bhat Bhati Wait. So notice these three Pali terms. Pariyatti Dhamma is a scriptural teaching. And then the Bhati Bhat is practice. And then Bhati Wait is insight and result of the practice. So in terms of this, there is the unborn, unconditioned, this, as I've said before, is not a belief, but a reminder. And then this, to me, I don't know, I'm surprised at how people fail to appreciate this. But to me, this is a statement, or a statement of fact, in which then it reminds me of this mindfulness, path to the deathless. And the inquiry in the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. So it's not about beginning and ending, it's not about something that's absent now that will become, that I'll get in the future. It's just awakening to it. So it's like the simplicity of awakening. And so this Buddha, this word Buddha or Bhutto is the awakened consciousness of an individual. That means you. It's the awakened state. It's not about Ajahn Sumedho or any person. But as long as you're determined to to limit yourself to the conditioned realm and see yourself always from the personal level, identity and operating from the personal, then that perspective you'll just go around in the circles of the conditioned realm. Because the personal or the conditioned cannot recognize the unconditioned. So that's why when you as a person try to figure out what I'm saying, what is the unconditioned, analyze it, doubt it, whatever, then of course you're operating from the conditioned, trying to figure out what the unconditioned is. And so that's why this emphasis on it's an imminent awakened state. It's nothing much. It's not like something that is difficult or you can't do. It's just a matter of doing it. And you say, how do you do it? How do you wake up, Ajahn Sumedho? How can I be mindful? Then recognize also that samadhi or concentration is what we're programmed to do. We can do that from the sakyaditi level. Concentrate on things. So like modern education, if you can't concentrate, you can't learn anything on the conditioned realm. You need to put your attention onto something and sustain it. So one can develop samadhi because it's refining conditioned experience. But with the unconditioned, it's not about focusing on an object or refining the conditions that you're trying to create more refined conditioned experience, but recognizing, realizing. Like when you go forth, the Bappa Chah Upasampada, that is a formal commitment. To go forth then is going out of the, no longer lingering in the conditioned realm and seeking happiness and self-fulfillment in the world. So strive on with diligence, we say, and Nibbana is our goal. I mean, these are formal procedures when you ordain. But then it can be very personal, like I'm becoming a monk or I'm becoming a nun, or it's like it's the inevitability of the condition of our karma is to grasp it on a personal level. So then we become samanas, we become monks or nuns, bhikkhus, siladharas, samaneras, anagarikas. And so that's just, personal, that's one condition, changing to another condition, which is not to be despised because it is, it's a commitment at least to relinquishment. So I'm not, vilifying it, but pointing to, the aim of the holy life, the aim of what we're doing is not for personal development and personal achievement and attainment, but for liberation. And this is, of course, to be to remind yourself every day of this. What are you here for? For worldly causes or for personal advancement? We can believe that we actually are here for liberation. Maybe that's our altruistic ego operating. But the point is that even don't trust that, even your altruism, but to actually, it's an invitation to awaken here and now, not about living this life in order to get something from it. This is merely an expedient vehicle for awareness, not for identity. Now, the conditioned realm is, it's the body, and we have to live, we have to bear with our physical bodies and our karma, as individual human beings. And then the society and the world that we live in, it's full of urgent matters, ideas, views and opinions, pressures, just the aging process, sickness, physical disability, emotional traumas, the whole lot is affecting us. In one's lifetime, one is going to experience all kinds of different vipaka karma. And the conditioned realm is about grief, lamentation, despair, anguish, affliction. All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. It's about losing, what you're attached to. And that applies, both materially or mentally, emotionally, with friends, parents, relatives. And so this way of reflecting on the nature of conditioned phenomena as dukkha, not as a kind of put down of conditioned phenomena, but to recognize that if that's all you ever, if you never see the nature of conditioned phenomena, then you're always going to be disappointed, even when you get what you want. So the history of human civilization is all about loss, isn't it? We have these romantic images and the kind of fairy tales and dramas. We have in our own experience of life, direct experience of life. We have to, learn how to deal with physical disabilities, pain and sickness, loss of the loved, not getting what we want, having to be with what we don't like. This is life on this planet. This is the way it is. When we get what we want, then of course that we have the happiness that comes from getting what we want. But conditioned phenomena is changing, and the conditions aren't sustaining anything to where we can sustain that happiness and getting what we want. And so this is like reflecting that this is the way it is. It's not a cynical statement. It's just pointing to the nature of conditioned phenomena is dukkha. So that means whether it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever, all conditions are impermanent, all conditions are not self. So these three characteristics of conditioned phenomena, anicca, dukkha, anatta, insight into that it's a way of getting perspective on conditioned phenomena. It's not a doctrine that kind of telling you the nature of conditioned phenomena. These characteristics, anicca, dukkha, anatta, or impermanent, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self, are not to be, believed or projected onto conditioned phenomena, but they're suggestions, a way of looking at conditioned phenomena, a skillful way of observing your body or your emotional tendencies or thoughts and memories, sensory experience, what you see, hear, smell, taste, touch. And that which is aware of conditioned phenomena is not conditioned phenomena. So what is it? Is it me, Ajahn Sumedho, aware of conditioned phenomena? Because that's a word, isn't it? And so that's just merely a convention. My name, Ajahn Sumedho, is a convention. That's not, that's merely a expedient means. So it's not a person, it's not a, it's not a thing or an object or condition that's aware of another condition. So this is why we can only say it is the unconditioned, the anatta, non-self, that allows us to have that perspective on the realities of conditioned phenomena as we're experiencing it here and now, sitting here, breathing, feeling hot or cold, feeling healthy or sickly, pleasure, pain, happy, unhappy, whatever. That's like the puto, the awareness, awakened consciousness, aware of the conditions that we're experiencing at this time, that arise, that affect our consciousness as individual human entities at this very moment. And whatever those conditions are, no matter how personal or different, from one person to another, the common factor, the characteristics common to all, that every single one of us in this temple at this moment, the common factor is that whatever we're experiencing its nature is impermanent, is anicca, dukkha, anatta. So it's a way of where my feelings and your feelings and on like this, it gets into proliferating about my life and my tendencies and me as opposed to you, different, how I feel, how men feel, how women feel, how things are different. People that don't seem to feel very much, others that feel everything. The quantity, the quality. And what does that do? That gets on into just endless proliferations and separations. There's no way we can resolve that. It's just like all of us trying to express how we feel at this moment would be anarchy. So, but the common characteristic to whatever, whether it's just indifference, neutral feeling, or extreme happiness or extreme depression, the common characteristic is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Whether it's coarse, refined, banal, vulgar, worldly, altruistic or refined, beautiful, and and that which is aware of conditioned phenomena is not the condition. So we call that the unconditioned, unborn, uncreated. So then that resolves into this sati sampajanya, sati panya, mindfulness, wisdom. Now, when you grasp the terms unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned, that intellectually, just on the intellectual level, it doesn't. It's like nothing. It's not like the highest happiness or the ecstatic bliss of oneness or the cosmic radiance of the universe, where we're using terms that are, tend to inspire the mind. Grand, majestic, poetic terms of, that give this sense of inspiring, of uplifting the conditions of our mind, our feelings, our emotions. Well, this is, to observe how words and concepts affect us on the conditioned realm. When we go into superlatives to inspire. And then we can be just very cynical and kind of depressing cynics. We're all just selfish creatures, and life has no meaning, and it all ends in death anyway. And so this is grasping these terms. You can see the result of grasping the negative cynicism. The result of that, grasping those particular terms, doesn't inspire the mind. You don't feel uplifted or happy by thinking in negative ways, where you can be quite happy thinking in very positive ways. But that awareness is where the samadhi, where we actually see the path, not through trying to just block out the negative and grasp the positive, but to see in perspective all conditions are impermanent. All conditions are dukkha, all conditions are anatta, not self. So even the conditions that says you are a self is a condition, isn't it? So the very cry from within saying me, me, me is non-self. The emotional world that we give great importance to, what I feel, my feelings. Very personal, sensitive feelings that I have are anatta. They arise and cease. So it's a way of putting into perspective our emotional life, because we tend to believe it. We're either afraid of it, or we're totally committed to our feelings. We resist it, or we believe it. We're confused by it. And the way to not to suppress emotions or to grasp them. So those are the two extremes. Like suppressing emotion is still a form of grasping, trying to get rid of anger or grief or sorrow, or trying to get rid of worry, get rid of fear and all these. The more we try to get rid of negative feelings, the more we become obsessed with them. So resistance, denial, vipavadanha, the desire to get rid of something, or reject, or run away, destroy something you don't like, is still desire, in the fact that it's attachment through resisting. Bhava Dhanha, the desire for attainment, so wanting to become an enlightened person, wanting to get somewhere in your practice, wanting to see the path, wanting to, become a Sotapanna, an Arahant. Now these are maybe noble desires, but it's still like Sakya Ditti operating, the desire and Sakya Ditti, they are together. They operate together. So Dhanha, Upadana, is the desire and grasping. Just notice this relationship. Grasping, for sense pleasures, for desire for becoming, desire for getting rid of. That which is, then inquire into that which is aware of desire. So, this is like investigating yoniso manasikara. It's like you're going to that which is aware of desire is not a desire. So you can't, if you desire to become mindful, I want to become more mindful, is, it's desire, and we grasp that. It's the self-view, wanting to get something you don't have, or cultivate something you don't think you're very good at, or be, it's still Sakya Ditti. And so that's where this awareness, this observing, this Bhutto, the knowing of conditioned phenomena, desire and the grasping of desire, Upadana, and the becoming. As soon as you grasp desire, you become that desire. Dhanha, Upadana, Bhava. And then it goes into chati, rebirth, old age, sickness, death, grief, lamentation, and despair. So out of this avijja, ignorance of the path, then all our efforts to attain and achieve, to control, to get rid of, if it's coming from avijja, the result's always going to be dukkha. So that which is aware of avijja is not avijja. Like Sakya Ditti is avijja, the personality view. And grasping that, and then it will always result, the result will always be dukkha, soka paritewa, grief, sorrow, lamentation, despair, old age, sickness, death, grasping the body as yourself. Where's your body taking you? Old age, sickness, death. So this is a very important reflection. If I'm this body, it's where is it? If this is truly what I am, then where is it taking me? It's getting older. Old age, sickness, death. When I grasp my personal habits, and the sense of myself as a person, me and what I want, what I think, my views and my fears and my life, where does that take me? It always takes me to some form of dukkha, of suffering. What's going to happen to me now that I'm an old man? How am I going to die? These are the concerns of old people now. I'm beginning to recognize the aging process and the conditions that arise from grasping that. What happens when I die? Where do you go when you die? Where will I go? Me, Ajahn Sumedho, when I die. On that level, where does it take me to? If I didn't have any insight into the unborn, uncreated, then I'd be stuck with that one. And a whole lifetime of habit tendencies, memories, and that from and then maybe fear of death, resentment of old age, regrets about things I did or didn't do in my life, or whatever. Whatever I grasp as on the conditioned plane, whether it's the physical body or the emotions, memories, mental states, will always result in dukkha. So this is like the paticca samuppada, dependent origination. If ignorance or avijja is where you operate from, the result is dukkha. And so this is to be, this is a helpful way of reflecting. As long as I operate from sakkaya ditthi, me and my practice, then the result will always be some form of anxiety, worry. It can be, it's going to be the result of that grasping out of avijja will result in fear, anxiety, worry, guilt, remorse, fear of death, and fear of loss, of failure. So then there is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. Then the avijja is gone. If you recognize this is a shortcut actually. You all want shortcuts to enlightenment, don't we? So but if you recognize this, then there's not avijja in that. It's not like I am the unborn. It's not coming from sakkaya ditthi, grasping the words or boasting in terms of I am the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned as a person. There is this unborn, atti bhikkhave ajatang aputang akatang asankadang. There is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. So there is the escape from the born, the created, the formed, the conditioned. That says everything you need to know. So the simplicity of it is like observing the body, that which is aware of the body, that awareness. It's consciousness, isn't it? You don't go unconscious when you're observing the body. The four postures, sitting, standing, walking, lying down, or the breath. You don't go into an unconscious state. You can concentrate on the body out of some opinion and view about you've got to concentrate on your body or your breath. So that's not mindfulness of the body, that's merely concentrating on the body from the sakkaya ditthi. So maybe you're following the instructions in the Anapanasati manual or whatever, but it still can be coming from the sakkaya ditthi. But just bare attention, bodily awareness, sitting. So then it's awareness of sitting. It's not, I'm no longer interested in the me and mine of my posture and sitting, but it's a suddenly awakening to just this thing that's sitting right now, the feeling, the pressures, the heat or cold or whatever, that arise in consciousness when you're aware of this body sitting, standing, walking, lying down, breathing, feeling, happiness or misery, indifference, boredom, confusion. Compulsiveness, doubt and worry and so forth. That which is aware that's awareness. It's not me being aware of worry. There's the awareness of worry. So here, like consciousness is what we're experiencing. Every one of us is experiencing consciousness through a form. The human body, the bodies that we have, and so this is the what we learn from the way it is, not from what somebody else is, but from the way I am right now. This feeling, this body that I'm conscious of at this time. So then it's listening to the self. I feel confused, I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever, however you're feeling, change that, determine to just listen, not try to get rid of confusion or doubt or anything like this, but use it. If you're feeling confused, doubtful, uncertain, what is aware? If you're feeling, none of us like to feel confused. We like to have certainty, and clarity, and confusion is generally a state of mind none of us want. So maybe our whole lifetime when we get confused, we either run away from it or just suffer from, I don't know who I am, I don't know where I'm at, I don't know what to do, kind of feeling. And just be caught in the confusion, struggling, resisting, and being trapped in that particular condition. Where mindfulness of confusion, the fact that you're actually aware that you're confused, or that confusion is present in your consciousness. What's that, anyway? So people come to me and say, I'm very confused, Ajahn Sumedho. They have to know there is that confusion in their mind. And then maybe they expect me to straighten everything out for them so that they're no longer confused. But that's because we don't like it. But learn from whatever is happening to you at the time, in the present moment. Confusion is not an obstruction. If you can recognize it is what it is, a condition. Conditions for confusion have arisen. Confusion is like this. Doubt, uncertainty is like this. So that which is aware of doubt, of confusion, these more amorphous things like anger and greed are more sharp. They're more easily seen. But then we get into those states of just boredom, restlessness, confusion, doubt, and anxiety, just kind of general forms of anxiety and worry about the future. Maybe habitual worry. Worry is a common form of suffering in affluent countries, probably in every country, whether poor or affluent. But in affluent societies like this one, people worry about the future endlessly. And worry is a result of grasping, wanting certainty, wanting security, wanting to know the future, wanting the future to be a promise of happiness and fulfillment, of getting everything I want, of being a success. And then there's always the fear, the anxiety around not getting what I want, being a failure. So, whatever you're experiencing is the path. The path is this recognizing the condition. It is what it is. That which is aware of the condition. This is the unconditioned awareness itself. Then bhavana, developing or cultivating the Eightfold Path. There's samaditi, samasangapo. That is that intention then carries you. It's not coming from sakyaditi anymore. It's from insight. And then of course it affects Samma vaja, samma kammanto, samma chivo, the active verbal side of our life in the society, right speech, right action, right livelihood. But it's coming out of samaditi and samasangapo rather than out of moral ideas about what's right and what's wrong. It's no longer samma vaja, samma kammanto, samma chivo that is dictated from a religious or moral point of view. It's spontaneity. It's generating from wisdom, from the unconditioned, rather than from moral prescriptions by religious teachers or cultural values, ethics, and so forth. It's the real thing. It's spontaneous. It's not based on me as a person trying to live a moral life or speak in a proper way or have the right livelihood as a person. So you can see, like the Eightfold Path, this samma ditti, samma sangapo, samma vaja, samma achivo, samma kammanto, samma vayamo, samma sati, samma samadhi. There's a samadhi, then right action, concentration, mindfulness, effort. Everything falls into place, in other words, from samaditi. So the avijja has been extirpated. So don't think that it's that far away. When you think about yourself as a person, you're going to get it all wrong. When you when you see yourself always from these highly personal perceptions and about your ability or inability or your goodness or lack of virtue or your faults and weaknesses, your sins and guilt, and the way that we create ourselves with concepts and memories. And that's why I keep saying, don't believe any of it. Whatever you think you are or believe you are, you're not that. That's for certain. So then there is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. This is it. This you can trust. There's a mindfulness, in other words. And then a listening attentiveness. Having this sense, recognizing this broad spectrum, all-inclusive nature of awareness. It's not controlling, picking, choosing. It's not critical or judgmental. So there is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. Therefore there is the escape from the born, the created, the formed, the conditioned. But if there was no unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned, there'd be no escape. We're just victims of karma. We're helpless in this conditioned realm. There's nothing much you can do about it. I'm a victim of fate. So the victim mentality arises. It's logical. I didn't get the best in life, and I'm a victim of, so many things. Bad government, all kinds of unfairness, and all kinds of family problems, genetic problems, inheritances and karmic inheritances and ancestry. We can go on and on endlessly into the victim mentality, and that's the result of feeling there's no way out, there's no escape from this. Whatever we got in the beginning, we're stuck with that till we die. So that's why people get depressed, and even in affluent societies, people, get so depressed or suicidal, or just forget about it, get drunk, take drugs, do anything to get out of this trap of the endless cycles of samsara, of the conditioned realm. Or if one has good karma, then you can, as a good person, you can develop, good qualities in the society. Sacrifice yourself for the welfare of the family, the society. Be virtuous. Be responsible for what you do. Don't be selfish. So this is not to be despised either. For living a happy life as a human being is to be a good person. And then to live in a way that is not just thinking of obsessed with oneself, but having the sense of helping others, of personal sacrifice for the welfare of others. But the monastic form, as I try to emphasize, that it is for, its purpose is for liberation. from samsara, from avijja. In both, it's not a rejection or a denial of it. Just let me out of here because I can't stand the conditioned realm. So, because that's Sakya Ditti, isn't it? I don't like the world. I want to say goodbye, cruel world. I don't ever want to see you again. It's still Sakya Ditti. So it's a quantum leap, you might say, from this personal sense of interpreting experience to there is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. So this retreat, this emphasis on this particular teaching, is it's like sharing with you my own insights from reflecting on this. I don't hear any other teachers using this particular teaching, which I found, very, a constant source of reminding myself. And there is the unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned. Right now, this is it. And then the thinking mind, the emotional tendencies to react to that, because you can't conceive it and you don't, and it just leaves you in a state of doubt maybe, or you can't figure it out. And that's the point. You can't figure it. It's not figuring it out, it's recognizing. And you say, awaken, and then say, how do I awake? And you say, well, open your eyes. How do I open my eyes? And it goes on endlessly. If you're trying to get someone else to tell you how to awaken, and trying to figure it out, how to do it, it's something you do. It's here and now, it's attentive, present, sound of silence, it's consciousness, you're experiencing consciousness, awareness, and then these teachings like unborn, uncreated, unformed, unconditioned, this is the panya, discerning, developing panya. Not saying the unborn is better than the born, is it? It's not about, it's not dualistic in that sense of saying the unborn is better than the born. That's nonsense. That's just playing around with terminologies, intellectual manipulations. But recognizing the unborn is not about saying it's better. It is like this attention, awareness, recognizable, it's real. And then the born is seen in terms of what you're feeling, body or whatever in the present is like this. So the escape from the born, the created, the formed, the conditioned, is not a rejection of it, it's merely seeing it, and no longer blindly attaching, trapped in the cycles of samsara. It's not you're getting rid or destroying samsara, getting rid of the conditioned, but your relationship to it changes from this personal, habitual, ignorant way of living life within these forms to learning from, developing panya, discernment. There is the unborn, this is the unborn. And then the born is seen, no longer from, through one condition thinking about another condition.